Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is talking about, and many others. So I'm slowly uploading the 7 videos I made of the reading of one of his newest books, which is A Letter to Liberals. And I first I recorded all those on my Facebook page. So go to Timotheus Janakos, or go to, yeah, you're going to have to spell out the name. Timotheus is Timotheus. Janakopoulos is Giannakopoulos. I used to be under Tim Janakos, but Facebook and Instagram during the pandemic kicked me off without any explanation. I had hundreds of thousands of followers on many of my groups. A lot of my groups are still up, but they don't have me as the moderator anymore because they kicked me off under my name, Tim Janakos, Timjanakos. So please share this page if you believe that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has a chance of getting elected. If I do believe he does, if he doesn't get shot like his dad and his uncle. But this is an unprecedented time in the history of the U.S. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talks about it on many of his recent interviews, that the U.S. lost its democracy in the Gilded Age, and it took FDR and other people like that to bring it back. And now during this COVID coup, we have completely lost our democracy. Free speech is the First Amendment, and the reason it's the First Amendment is because you can't have all the other amendments, nor can you have a constitutional republic or a democracy without having free speech. If a government, this is what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says over and over, if a government has a right to silence its critics, there is no limit you'll ever be able to put on that government's tyranny and its control over its people. So without being able to speak freely and openly, we live in a totalitarian state, which is what we've lived in ever since right before the pandemic, which they knew was coming because they planned it all out. If you watch all their Operation Lockstep and all their other operations that they did to simulate the pandemic before it happened, and they started taking down my videos before even the lockdown of the pandemic. My MMS video is still on YouTube. I'm gonna actually show you. If I go to my YouTube, what do you call it? My studio. YouTube studio. Okay. So it says here, it says I have 6,353 followers. It was at 6,000 before the pandemic. It hasn't gone up much after that because I haven't uploaded much stuff because I started taking down everything I did. The community strike. Let's see if they'll show the strike. Community. Okay, they don't have it on this. I have to do it on my actual computer. This doesn't give you all the information. Content. Maybe it's in this one. I have a strike which is still in review process for MMS, which was before the pandemic started. They took down my video. Then I uploaded it again, and then they put a strike on it. So how did they know to take down my video of MMS, which was Miracle Mineral Solution or Miracle Mineral Supplement, otherwise known as stabilized oxygen, otherwise known as chlorine dioxide, otherwise known as the universal antidote, otherwise known as, there's like 17 different names for it, but there was hundreds of thousands of videos up all over the place before the pandemic, and even right shortly before the pandemic, they started taking down all those videos and started doing false strikes against them. They didn't even tell me they took down my original video. As soon as people started talking about, oh, there's this new virus coming out of Wuhan, I looked for my video so I can post it on my Facebook, and they said it wasn't there. I couldn't find it, so I uploaded it again, and that's when they gave me a strike. And then I said, please review it, because they say it's dangerous misinformation. I've said, please tell me where in it's dangerous misinformation. So it's still in review after almost 3 years now, which means there's nothing in it that's misinformation. There's nothing in it that's dangerous. But they don't want you to know that we could have completely avoided this pandemic and any future pandemics if we would have been taking stabilized oxygen. Okay, that's all I have to say. Welcome to my channel. Please help us bring this channel back to where it was getting at least 2,000. It was getting at least, I would say, 20,000 views every month, and now it's getting like 2,000 views. So it's about it's way down compared to where it was before the pandemic. Actually, it was before the pandemic. They started shadow banning my stuff because they started taking down videos. I think it was the first video. I made a joking video. It was a comedy video that I was going to vote for the Orange Man. I didn't vote for the Orange Man, and I made it totally ridiculous why I would vote for him, so you would know it's comedy. But that's when I think they started doing strikes on my account, because they're like, no, we're not going to let a Trump supporter, which I'm not. I've never voted Republican. I've never voted for Trump. I'm going to vote for Robert F. Kennedy. I voted in the last election for Bernie Sanders. He got his primary stolen from him. Or the previous election before that, I voted for Bernie Sanders. He got his primary stolen against him both times, so I voted for Green Party in the general election. And in the last election that I voted for, I was going to vote for Democratic, but instead I voted for Ralph Nader. I actually think Ralph Nader ran one of the greatest campaigns, but he was shut out by everything. So let's see if that doesn't happen to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. If we do have any sense of democracy in this country, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will win, because he is the best candidate. No matter if you're a Democrat, no matter if you're a Republican, no matter if you're an independent. I consider myself more of an independent, but now that I'm listening to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s speeches, and he's talking about what the original meaning of liberal was and what the original meaning of Democrat was, I guess I am an FDR Democrat and a John F. Kennedy Democrat, which I never knew until I started studying them more. I always knew that we need a New Deal like FDR did and saved capitalism from its total destruction during the what was it called, the stock market crash, the what do they call that back in the 20s and 30s? Shit, the Great Depression. Yeah, we're in a Great Depression right now. We have an insane two-party system of just bought and paid for puppets by the corporate cabal running our government, which is the pharmaceutical corporations before it was the oil companies under the Bush two-time stolen election. 2000 and 2004 were both stolen elections, brought to you by Diebold, the makers of fake election machines and the makers of ATM machines at all the banks I used to work at. Okay, thank you guys. I'll start uploading more and more of the readings of his books. But I got a strike for reading the introduction to his book, The Real Anthoy Fauci, so I won't be... I put all those up on my Rumble page. So go to Tim Janakos, TIMJANAKOS on my Rumble page to see all my videos reading that book. And I read two other books. I read the Covid Coup by what's his name? Dr. Leonard Horowitz, and I read The Bodies of Others, The War Against Humans by Naomi Wolf. I would love to hear an interview with Naomi Wolf and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I would love her to be a vice president. That would be an amazing ticket. All right, take care. Peace out.